The euro currency on an uptick here, but unable to push through significant levels at the 114 mark. We've seen the range hold over the last several months at 112 to 115 range, but it seems to be right now we're just kind of hovering in the middle. We've been bouncing around. We've had some news come out. Obviously, the Brexit cloud is hanging over the European Union as well as the UK. So there's a lot going on here. We've just been kind of holding steady against the dollar. So the euro right now in that near that 114 level, pushing higher off the lows. But again, momentum seeming to sway here a little bit. We're not seeing a whole lot of movement beyond 114, and it'll be significant if we do. And if we don't, we're going to pull back, test that 112 level we saw back in July, and that could be significant if we make a new year-to-date low if we do that. Now, let's look also at what's going on with the ECB. So we heard about from Mr. Draghi today that he's concerned about growth. He's concerned about low inflation, yet he wants to begin the QE unwind. If you take a roadmap of what happened in the U.S., it is a bit of a bumpy road when you're trying to raise rates and when you're trying to stop the asset purchases and you're trying to stop basically putting that safety net underneath the entire financial system, something that the European ECB has been doing for quite some time as well. So they're trying to do what the U.S. started a few years ago, and they are running into slow growth, low inflation concerns, whereas the U.S. was a little bit more optimistic on their economy when they began. So that is also going to weigh on the euro versus the dollar. You're going to continue to see it struggle to make upticks in a global setting, given the fact that, things aren't as great as they hoped, and they are going to try and go ahead and tighten amidst all this. So that could be very concerning, and the euro will suffer. Lastly, let's look at Brexit. A lot of press from last night when we heard about Prime Minister May getting her votes in order to stay Prime Minister. Yes, that's great, but there has been no resolution. And right now, a lot of the talk has been on the UK side of what's going to happen. What really happens to the European side, and what the ECB was also very concerned about, and this is going to put weight more on the euro, not versus the pound, but again, versus the rest of the bucket of currencies in the G20, is the fact that how are we going to do these trade agreements? How is it going to affect financially a lot of what's going on in Europe? We're already seeing, question marks rise in France and Germany, but I think ultimately right now it's going to be a real, it's going to be very harmful to both sides of this equation, whether you're in the UK or whether you're in the European, in the European Union, and that is something that doesn't get a whole lot of press. So right now the euro is struggling against the dollar. We are seeing a little bit of an uptick. It is performing better against the pound, but that's because right now the pound seems to be weaker given the fact that they have more heavy lifting to do with Brexit. And ultimately, I think right now the euro needs to see some growth within Europe. They need to see some inflation within Europe if they're going to have a successful liftoff of this QE unwind, which could come later next year.